or did you not sleep with my brother?
Eric have to do with my dad being killed by a drunk driver.
Brother's dead.
We don't know for sure what happened that night.
I remember.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives Homies channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Editors have independently selected all of the goods and services that are listed. On the other hand, soaps.com might get paid a commission for orders made through its retail links, and the retailer might get some data that can be audited for bookkeeping purposes. Maybe what they claim is true after all. At least when it comes to super couples, they're not made the same way as they once were. It can be really challenging to find the perfect combination of components to form a super couple. Days of Our Lives used to appear like a super couple factory, producing incredibly popular couples on the show with relative ease. It appears like couples these days may find it more difficult to connect to the same extent as Kimberly and Shane, John and Marlena, or Steve and Kayla. However, narratives, people, and, possibly most importantly, storytelling all evolve with time. Mary Beth Evans mentions this to Swoon.com when discussing the origins of Stayla, almost 40 years ago. Evans notes, "We were thrown together from day one, and it's always been about us. Unlike today's coupledom, they always loved each other, even if there were times when things broke us apart. They were always in love with one another, and things are not at all the same now." For those who weren't watching back then, Catherine Mary Stewart had a brief role as Kayla in the early 1980s. Evans took over after Roman and Bo's sister departed in 1986 and returned. Steve and Kayla first came into contact at the start of Evans' employment, but the actress remembers that it took years for them to formally become engaged. But as Nichols tells Swoon, their fate was all but set after that occurred. He says, "We're a couple who have always loved one another. And the reason we were apart or not together was always something that happened." Evans remarks, "I feel like we're one of the last holdouts in that, but I love it. I'm quite fortunate with that. Furthermore, we were always united in our minds, as Nichols puts it. We were in love all the time. That is absurdly adorable, but it may also inspire hope for a different, more contemporary popular pair. There will never be another love like Abigail for Chad, in Billy Flynn's opinion. Even though she's gone, Chad will always hold on to her. That's why many fans find this most recent fictitious Abigail story so upsetting. We were promised a wonderful couple again, but as it turns out, it's all a massive scam." However, Steve is aware of the scam, having recently demonstrated Abigail's deceitfulness. Did you miss the ruse that showed it? Perhaps that's where they all come together and offer us hope that Abigail and Chad are real. After 16 years of being missing, Steve came back and regained his memories. He and Kayla were back and stronger than before. And even though Abigail might not be alive right now, and might not be alive for years to come, like her aunt and uncle, her and Chad's love story might resume at some point. They kiss passionately, and then Chad pulls away. He admits he's watched too many Disney movies with Charlotte. She realizes he hoped the kiss would bring her memories back, but it didn't. However, it was a nice kiss and gave her full-body tingles. It makes her think she can remember. She wants to kiss him again, but she has to get ready and rushes off to her room. Back in Salem, Steve leaves Chad a message and begs him to call him back as it's urgent. Kayla later returns, and she says he's right. Mark lied, and that woman is not Abigail. Steve is sorry and knows she wanted this to be true. She feels bad for Jack and Chad. Steve says that they'll deal with that later. But this also means Mark lied for some reason. He says Mark and this woman need to be stopped. He will call Jada. But they need to stop Chad from marrying that woman. Kayla says she'll try to get a hold of him. Steve walks off and Kayla texts Chad's phone saying, "She's not Abigail." The message pops up on Chad's phone in Paris, but he doesn't see it. In the square, Mark gets a call from his sister. She tells him how hard this is, she feels awful about what they are doing, and Chad doesn't deserve this. Mark asks if she's starting to have real feelings for this guy. She admits she is and feels horrible about what they are doing to him. Mark says she needs to stay focused on the job, and she says she knows. She recalls he mentioned something that Clyde wanted him to do something. Mark says it's from Days of Our Lives, who plays hospital administrator Seth Burns, who has fallen in love with acting, will make additional appearances. For a brief Days storyline, Patricia Darbo will also reprise her role as Nancy Miller. Joy Wesley Alexander Hopkins, Nancy's daughter, is returning to Salem for a legitimate reason. She's hoping to land her a position on Body and Soul. The good news is that Joy will get the opportunity to try out. The bad news is that Nancy will become suspicious and lash out if Joy ends up sleeping with Carson Boatman as a result of the confusion over Raven Bowen's purported cheating. Joy should book the Body and Soul gig and move to Salem full-time as a result, even though Nancy won't be staying. The younger sister of Cho Lane is all grown up and prepared to cause trouble for the age group of her character. In other news regarding the comings and goings in our lives, John Paul Lavoisier is scheduled to return as Philip Kyriakis on October 25. According to previews for Days, Philip will be quite unhappy about Paul Telfer's possible relationship with Kristen Dimmerer. As it happens, Kristen will retract her offer and insist on receiving Titan's serum in return for Dr. Wilhelm Rolfs. Philip might fight back, but Xander might feel it's worth it if it gives Lindsay Godfrey the chance to walk again. You can be sure Philip will find it reckless to simply give the Dimmerers the Kyriakis family legacy in this manner. Seeing Philip return and watching him argue with Xander about the company will be entertaining. Fans of Days of Our Lives have been waiting months for Annalyn McCord's character's real name to be revealed. And now we know. Cat Green. Naturally, you already know a fair amount about the genuine identity of phony Abigail Dimmerer. Previous to this, we predicted that McCord's character would be the daughter of Katharina Melonis, who was previously portrayed by Ellie Patricos. John Black feels he eliminated this woman while he was the pawn. Luckily, Katharina survived, so John doesn't need to feel bad about it. However, Kat and Mark Green worry that she won't last long if Clyde Weston doesn't get his way. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.